Good day, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the FIU CIBER Speaker Series. My name is Jillian Avendano. I'm the Program Director at FIU's Center for International Business Education and Research. We're honored to be one of 16 cyber centers with a special grant from the Title VI grant from the U.S. Department of Education. The role of our grant is to promote U.S. competitiveness in international business, and we do so in a number of different ways, one of which are webinars such as our Cyber Speaker Series. So the topic of today's talk is BizNation, Breaking Barriers, New Waves for Education in Business. We have a very special guest, Stephanie Carvajalino, who is, along with her two sisters, is taking an innovative approach to business education, preparing the future generation of business leaders in Latin America and the United States. I'll go ahead and pass it along to my colleague, Dr. Luciana Kube, who will give you a little bit more detail.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Jillian.
Good morning.
We are so happy to receive here Stephanie Carvajalino. We had her in our office at FIU, and we were so pleased to listen to her story, all her life and the life of her sisters, and how they came from Cartagena to all Colombia and now to the United States, bringing inspiration and motivation to the young people and to everyone to become entrepreneurs, and how through education and technology, they are breaking barriers through neuro-linguistic programming. So Stephanie studied at Kennesaw State University, and they started at a very young age selling chocolates and with the support of their parents. And slowly, Stephanie and her sisters, they became bigger and bigger in several areas, and she started sales. And now she's living here in South Florida, bringing her innovation techniques to the South Florida people and to the underserved communities. She founded, together with her sister, the BizNation. She will explain to all of us what is that and how can we benefit, how can we participate in the project too, towards a positive and sustainable change. Thank you, Stephanie, and welcome.
And I also wanted to add, just before Stephanie starts, is that if you have any questions for her, we'll have some time at the end, but please feel free to enter your questions in the question and answer box, and she'll answer them at the end. We have a few that were sent in beforehand, so we'll be asking as well. So welcome, Stephanie.
Welcome to everyone. Hello, and thank you for this invitation. I'm super, let me see what it says. There it is. Can you see my screen? Because
yes.
I don't know why. Okay, perfect. Let me see, how do I go back to this? Oh, there you go. Okay, perfect. No, thank you so much for this invitation. I love being here. I met Luciana, and I think that we super clicked. And then when we went to FIU and we had the meeting, the three of us, we were like, oh my God, yes, we need to change education. We need to transform education. We are super aligned with what like FIU is doing, with what the BizNation is doing. So thank you again for inviting me to have this conversation today. Like I said, I want it to be like a conversation. If you have any questions in the process, just like write them down. I'm gonna be like answering, or we can just like answer them at the end. What we're gonna do today is that it's gonna be something like very, very easy going. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit about my story, who I am, why am I so passionate about education. Then I'm gonna talk to you about three main pillars that we have found to break all these barriers in education, especially in Latin America, in either like very, very vulnerable communities or very affluent communities. We realize that education, if it's like quality and relevant education, it could transform both, like everyone. It's regardless gender, it's regardless economic level, country, region, language. It's just like it can make a total difference. And then at the end, we're just gonna like open up for questions.
Las Carvajalino.
Wait. So first, I'm gonna share a video that is in Spanish, but you're gonna be like getting it once I start telling about my story. But it's just like a summary, and it's way easier to to understand what we do with my sisters.
Las Carvajalino, 3 hermanas, jóvenes, mujeres, latinas. Lo que muchos tildaban como una desventaja, las Carvajalino lo vieron como su mayor fortaleza para desafiar estereotipos y transformar vidas alrededor del mundo. Fundaron su primera empresa cuando tenían solo 6, 7 y 8 años. Desde muy temprana edad, estas apasionadas empresarias, autoras, conferencistas internacionales, han dedicado sus vidas a transformar la educación de las personas desde todas sus etapas y ámbitos. Son fundadoras de BizNation, una plataforma virtual para jóvenes, adultos y empresas en temas de tecnología, emprendimiento y habilidades esenciales. Con los años, las 3 hermanas han logrado llevar su mensaje a millones de personas en 25 países. Sus empresas han sido reconocidas por importantes entidades a nivel mundial, como el Foro Económico Mundial, las Naciones Unidas y el 14º Premio Nobel de la Paz, por el impacto en el desarrollo económico y social de su región. Además, son directivas de Cartagena International School, donde forman más de 600 niños y jóvenes con una mentalidad internacional a través del emprendimiento, tecnología y neurociencia. Las Carvajalino, seleccionadas por el presidente Obama para ser parte de la Cumbre Mundial de Emprendimiento en Silicon Valley, declaradas Patrimonio Histórico y Cultural por el gobierno colombiano, nominadas al premio de la Casa Blanca, Campeones del Cambio, y reconocidas como unas de las líderes más influyentes de América Latina. Karen, Daniela y Stephanie son noticias nacional e internacional desde su país natal hasta los Estados Unidos, desde Brasil hasta China y los Emiratos Árabes Unidos. 3 hermanas, 3 estilos, una misión: generar desarrollo social y económico a través de educación práctica y empoderamiento. Las hermanas Carvajalino están transformando globalmente el concepto de educación, negocios y emprendimiento. Karen, Daniela y Stephanie, las hermanas Carvajalino.
Perfect. So if you understand Spanish, you get an idea of what we do. If you don't really understand Spanish, at least you maybe got that we are 3. It's not only me and that we are sisters. That's why it's Hermanas Carvajalino. But still, I'm going to tell you a little bit more and expand a little bit more on where everything started and why are we so passionate about education, and especially this topic about breaking barriers, because I feel that this is something that we have done all our life. We started selling chocolates door to door, and I'm going to tell you how we passed from selling chocolates door to door in Colombia to having a business in 9 different countries around the world. We have around 200,000 users, and we have 2 schools, one in Colombia and one here in the US, and we are impacting education. But in that process, especially in the education industry, there's like a lot of ego of like, oh, experience. And between like, if you're older, then you're more experienced, so you know, and you have more knowledge. So we have always been like fighting those stereotypes of you're women, you are Latina, you are too young to be like teaching other people about like stuff, right? Like even like I can tell a lot of stories of a lot of projects that we wanted to implement in some places, and they said straight to our faces, this was the best proposal, but you guys are just too young. I need like more experience to be able to like do the project. So that's why I really like this topic of breaking barriers, because I feel that education needs to be changed, needs to be transformed, and to be able to change it, we first need to change our mindset. So we started selling chocolates door to door in Barranquilla, Colombia. After a year of selling chocolates door to door, we started giving speaking engagements, because in our story of education, but what's different is that we had a dad and a mom. My mom is an educator. She's a teacher, an educator or life, passionate about education. And my dad is this like crazy entrepreneur that I think that we inherit a lot of that craziness in everything that we do. So he was like, okay, you're going to have a business, but you are going to have a real business. So you're going to be the general manager. You're going to be the sales executive. You're going to be the commercial manager. We have to do a name, a logo. We have to find a uniform. You have to start talking about not going out at sale, but you have to start talking about hitting your sales quota. You have to start talking about raw materials instead of ingredients. So when I was 7 years old, as you can see in the picture, this is me, this is Karen, and this is Danny. I was talking about like business stuff. I was like, yeah, I go out and sell and I hit my quota every other day. And we were talking about raw materials and all these like profit, earnings, and all these like big words that for me at that moment were super normal, right? But then I started realizing that people were like, this is not normal. They were actually impressed. And I was like, so what do you mean that this is not normal? And then we started going and speaking in different places. At the beginning, it was just telling our story of like the family business. And as we started going to different places, we started seeing a pattern that was that people were impressed and they were not, they didn't have this type of education and they wish they were able to have this education. So in that process, and I'm doing like the super long story, trying to do it super short so we can go to like the 3 pillars that I bring today. And if you want to know like more about us, we are in Instagram as Hermana Carvajalino, and there you can find everything that we do, or the BizNation. But as we started going to give these speaking engagements, then we started realizing that we had a different type of education that other people not only wanted, but deserved to have that education. Since then, we have been in 25 countries. We have been in the World Economic Forum. We have been in the United Nations. We have been in different spaces, like very, very important and crucial spaces, to talk about how to transform education. We started learning about what our parents did with us. We started learning about neurolinguistic programming. We started learning about businesses. And with all those concepts and information, we started creating a methodology that we could use to teach other people, not only about entrepreneurship, but about how to develop 21st century skills, right? That I think is the main and most important thing. Not only I say it, but the World Economic Forum, the World Bank says that we need and we should focus on the famous 4 C's that are communication, creativity, critical thinking, and collaboration. Like the educational system, and I'm not only talking about high schools, but like any kind of like education should go back to basics. The world is changing so much. Technology is changing so much that what is going to make us different from everything that is going on is our essential skills and the famous, that I always say, misrepresented soft skills, because they're not soft skills. Like right now, they're like one of the main skills that we should have to be successful in the 21st century. So in that process, we wrote a book that is called Parents and Coaches. So we wrote one in 2009, one in 2010, and then one in 2019. This first book, every time that I read it, I'm like, I just laugh. I'm like, what is this? Because we were writing like it just about our experience, what our parents did with us. And then the one in 2019 is just like, after everything that we did, okay, this is the methodology that we developed that you could also follow. And a lot of people say, why did you write a book called Parents and Coaches and not How to Be a Young Entrepreneur? And I was like, because I never woke up and I said, I want to be a great entrepreneur. My parents showed me a path of possibilities and I followed that path. And today we are doing what we are doing, right? I always tell people we're not extraordinary. Like my sisters, they both graduated summa cum laude from school, 3.9 GPA out of 4. I was the nice student, the nice kid. I was like that. We're healthy. That's the important part. But I was never like super smart, super extraordinary, or my sisters. We just follow a process and a methodology. And that's why we want to teach that to other people. But awful. We don't want to teach parents how to be parents. That's super hard. And I'm not a mom, and I'm not going to teach anyone how to be a mom or a dad. We are helping parents through a pedagogical and a methodological perspective to spark the entrepreneurial spirit of their kids, right? Because we saw that a lot of parents were like, but how can I teach my kid to be an entrepreneur if I'm not an entrepreneur? How can I teach my kid about financial intelligence if I don't know anything about finance? Well, I know a lot of people that are like great tennis players and their parents are not tennis players, but they follow a process that helps them, right? We're columnists in sports, talking always about entrepreneurship and technology. And we have the BizNation, that is our online learning platform, where we have courses and we train corporations about these skills that are currently changing. So we are currently like launching new courses and new courses. So the teams of the companies could be currently like upskilling and reskilling their teams. We're in 9 countries. We have around 200,000 users. And this is my favorite part ever of the BizNation. We are a social enterprise. When I was growing up, when I was 7, my dad always taught us, a company is supposed to exist, yeah, to make money, but mainly to transform the world. and to add value to the world. If you're not adding value to the world, then find something else to do. So we always grew up with that mindset, and we were like, okay, how can we take this relevant and quality education to other people? And now we go to vulnerable communities in Latin America. We have projects in 5 different countries for free, completely free for these kids, that they do not only not have access to education. And one of the pillars that I'm going to talk, you're going to see how it connects, but they don't have access to any of these opportunities, or like any opportunities to change their mindset, or to have like new ideas of life. So that's my favorite part of the BizNation. And then the last thing that we are doing is the BizFest, where we take 14,000 students for free to an arena to talk about entrepreneurship and leadership, to change their mindset, to give them back hope, to help them understand that they could be whatever they want to be. And after that, we give them scholarships to get educated in skills, mainly in digital marketing. But the best part of BizNation or BizFest is that we created a campaign that is called Apadrina un Bus, because we didn't want these events to be for the people that can go. We were like, who cannot come? We're going to put buses like super far away from like the main places in Bogota, so they can come for free and get like this experience that usually they will never get that experience. So if you want to help in this super cause, just go to our Instagram and you're going to see everything there in the BizFest and how to help us bring more kids to the BizFest. And now talking about, okay, yeah, getting to the point, that's what we do in general things. But now I want to talk about the 3 main things that we saw that are helping us break a lot of barriers in education. The first one, and here comes the Spanglish part. This is the good part, that we are in Miami, that we have a great excuse to be Spanglish. So the first one is entrepreneurship. Okay, entrepreneurship is key because we see entrepreneurship not as a mean, not as a, okay, we're going to teach people how to create their next $1 million company, get an exit, and like be billionaires. No. If that happens, great, amazing. And it could be a result. And we have a lot of students that they have like current business that are like super profitable and super like successful. But our main point with entrepreneurship, it's developing. And yesterday I was talking to a friend and we were like, so what is an entrepreneur and what is a business owner? So would a freelancer be an entrepreneur or a self-employed? Will this be an entrepreneur? And I was like, you know, I don't know what is an entrepreneur, or when you are or you're not an entrepreneur. Like when you have employees, then you are an entrepreneur. But if you don't have employees, you're not at all. Like, I wouldn't talk about entrepreneur, but I would talk more about like the entrepreneurial mindset. And that's why this entrepreneurship goes straight, like super close to my heart, because entrepreneurship changed, or having that entrepreneurial mindset changed my way of seeing life. I started doing businesses when I was 6 years old. I'm 26 today, so that's more than half of my life. I see life through a different lens. I see life through how can I solve problems, like constantly. And I apply that to all the areas in my life, not only like to businesses, but I started applying that to all the areas in my life. I started developing public speaking. I've been speaking in big stages, small stages for 20 years. So now public speaking is just something that became normal and natural. And remember that one of those four C's is communication. The ability that you have to communicate an idea is what's going to differentiate you from ChatGPT, right? And it's not even that far, because ChatGPT will write the script and then the avatar will read the script. But the way that you can communicate an idea, the way that you can sell a project, the way that you can sell yourself, that is what it's going to make you different, right? So entrepreneurship is mainly a vehicle to develop 21st century skills. Critical thinking. I always tell people that I'm like, you could either see opportunities or create opportunities or just let them like pass by. I'm always like, if I'm in a room and like, I don't know, a door is not working, I'll be like, this is how I could fix this door and I can create a business of this and I can make all this money. It's just like on. It's always on. It's always like, how can I find solutions to stuff? Because I think that's the main point. The main point of entrepreneurial education is the problem solving and the critical thinking. So I feel and I think that everyone should learn about entrepreneurship in school, in their life. At some point in their life, we teach entrepreneurship curricular in our schools, like from K to 12. Like students learn, like they learn science, math, everything. They learn about entrepreneurship. They create their actual businesses. They're pedagogical business, but profitable businesses. And I feel that, you know, we see all these statistics of youth unemployment is going up. And I think there's not a lot of employment, that's right. But I know that there's a lot of employment to be created. But to be able to create those opportunities, we need more entrepreneurs. We need more people with this entrepreneurial mindset. We even helped pass a law in Colombia where it is mandatory that every institution in Colombia has to teach entrepreneurship from schools to university. It's a law now in Colombia. We helped pass that law, and I feel that it should be a law everywhere. So first, and one of the main pillars that I think will be super important to break all these barriers of education and traditional education, it's entrepreneurship. The second one, it's neuroscience. So when we were growing up, remember that I said that my mom was an educator. We were doing all these businesses, and we were always asking ourselves, like, how can we create these like a process that other people can follow? And we started learning more about education. One of my sisters was a psychologist. We all got certified. There's a thing called neuro-linguistic programming, NLP. I recommend to everyone to learn about neuro-linguistic programming. We got certified. We did the 7 levels directly with the creator of NLP, Richard Bandler. And it's basically, it sounds very, very complicated, but it's basically how you use your language to program your brain. So neuro-linguistic programming, so how you use the linguistics to program your neuro-linguistic programming. So yeah, linguistics to program your neuro, that is the brain. Because everyone is always worried about, how do I look? Am I healthy, not healthy? Am I going to the gym, not going to the gym? But no one is really worrying about the most important organ that we have, that is our brain. I always tell people, my emotions are in the heart. No, the heart just, it does like bombea sangre. Everything happens in our brain, like mental state, emotions, like everything is going on in our brain. So we really need to pay attention to our conscious, our unconscious mind. So we learn about a lot about NLP and how to include this within education, because we realize that education is not a one size fits all. We're all different. I just told you. If you go back in time and you think about how many people, when you were in high school, you graduate with how many A+ students? Maybe 1, 3, 5, like super excellent. What about the rest? What about all of us that we're not in that percentage of excellent students measured by the numbers, but we have other strengths, we have other intelligence, right? So then we took NLP, then we took another methodology that is called Triune Brain, that talks about like the different parts of the brain and their communication styles. We took experiential learning, we took storytelling and technology, and we created a methodology to increase the learning levels of our students, right? So I'm going to tell you a little bit about, I already told you a little bit about like NLP, that is how we can use our language to program our brain in a positive way. Remember, we are like a computer. We're programming our brain every single second in a positive or negative way. Like if you're telling yourself every single day, oh my gosh, I'm so dumb. Oh my God, I'm so bad at this. Then your brain is getting programmed, and it's never going to get better at whatever you're trying to get better, because you're programming your brain to be bad. Well, if it happens to bad stuff, it can also work for good stuff. So if you say to your brain, you know, and when we're like teaching students, you use emotion. Emotions is the best glue that our brain has to storage information and to remember information. So if you are currently using like positive wording, if you're currently using positive reinforcement, if you're currently talking to yourself in a positive way, then you're going to see better results, right? And I can talk about NLP like eternal, like we can do a webinar just in NLP. So So I'm not going to go very, very deep on that, but I really invite you to look into what it is. The second part of like another aspect that we use in our methodology and that has worked amazingly is the triune brain. That says that we have a brain that is divided in three parts. Usually people talk about like two sides of the brain. The left side, that is like logical and all the rational parts, and then the right side, that is like emotion and creativity. But nobody talks about like the limbic or the central brain, that is actually the first part of the brain and of animals that was developed. That is where our instinct of supervivencia is, right? So we all have the three. It's not like I have one and you have one. No, we all have three. But we have a predominant, we have a secondary brain and a third brain. What that means is that in crisis, in a moment of crisis, my dominant brain, my predominant brain is the one that is gonna take action or like be the protagonista, right? And this is important because when you understand that your students have different strengths, like I said, my sisters and I, we're sisters, we work together, but we're super different. We have different strengths, and my parents always understood that. And they never put us like to fight on who was better, because they knew that Daniela's strengths were not my strengths. And what was important for her was not important for me. If we want to put this into the business scenario, same thing happens. I think we are a great team because we complement each other really good. Daniela likes finance, she's like admin stuff, blah, blah, blah. I love sales, marketing, speaking. So what is important for me and what I'm really good at, it's not important for her and she's not really good at. So when you're finding a business partner, this methodology or this theory also works really, really good because it will help you to find the right partner. And the biggest problem sometimes in businesses is that you look for a partner that is the same as you. So then you start fighting who is more creative, who is more emotional, who is better in this and that and that and that, instead of finding someone that is going to be your complement, right? And another thing that is very important about this theory is the learning style. So we need to understand that they go to the board, write in the board, remember everything, and have a test. It's not how the majority of people learn. We have auditive learners, we have kinesthetic learners. So we should be targeting all different learning styles to be able to improve the learning levels of the people that we have in front, right? So neuroscience is a very, very key portion to breaking all these barriers of standardized testing, memorizing, and those are the excellent students. Not really. There's a huge percentage of us out of that percentage of excellent number of students that are like waiting and that deserve to be actually part of the conversation as well. And finally, micro learning. So as generation changes and pass, the type of learning also changes. The attention span also changes. And the reason why I have like this here and that I want to explain what's going on is because if you can relate to social media, I'm going to explain education using a social media example. So the biggest success of TikTok is the short form of videos. Like if you go to Instagram, now they have short form of videos. If you go to YouTube, they have short form videos. If you go to Facebook, you have short form videos. Why? Because they realized that this was the type of content that was getting more interaction and more engagement and more views. Why was this? Because the attention span of people was too short. So you had like a short time of period to get people's attention and they will keep scrolling and stay forever in the platform. That is what like these platforms at the end of the day they're looking for. One time I even told my sisters, I was like, we should teach teachers how to teach in a TikTok format. Because honestly, now everyone is, well, when TikTok started, it was more like dances and trends and stuff like that. But now a lot of people are learning like a lot through TikTok because it gives you a super good quality that we should all have, quality not, but like skill of summarizing. Back in the days, it was like, how can I get these essays super long and put all these fancy words and like, you know, to have like the count of numbers. Or for example, we have an online learning platform. And in our platform, every time that we came to like universities or companies to offer our services, the first question was not, what skill are they going to learn? But how many hours is it? And we were like, it's not about the hours. It's about the goal. Like, you have a goal of teaching this. If you take 5 minutes to teach it, great. If you take an hour to teach it, great. But like, it was so much in our brains, stereotypes again, and these barriers of like, no, it has to be at least 40 hours. But you don't know if of those 40 hours, 20 are just like to add to count the 40 hours, and then only 20 are really like good information that you need. So microlearning, it's definitely a great resource that we have realized and that we have been using, that it's working amazing. And it was funny how we discovered this, because it was like in a, I don't know how to explain that, but like, it was not that we were creating a product for our company, for our clients, but instead, in one of our social programs, we had a problem. And this is where the entrepreneurial mindset, it started, and it's good to have it. So we needed to teach all these people from rural areas, no internet connection, no computers, no information on how to get to a computer, how to get to a laptop, how to have like a username and password and whatever. But we needed to get to these students, because the point of our programs is to get to the people who are never going to get this education. And we were like, how can we do this? How can we do this? How can we do this? And then we started finding like through email, because they already have an email, no email, through this and that and that. And then in Latin America, I think everywhere besides the US, WhatsApp is a thing. Like, everyone uses WhatsApp because it's a free like texting application. And the good thing is that in Colombia and in a lot of countries in Latin America, everyone has a smartphone. Like, every household, they could not have like for lunch, but at least they're gonna have one smartphone. And the second good thing that we saw was that WhatsApp worked even if you didn't have saldo. Like, even if you didn't have like a plan for your phone, like if you didn't have like plan for like internet and stuff like that, WhatsApp worked without internet. So we were like, good, WhatsApp, everyone can have it for free, so they don't have to pay for it. Everyone has at least a phone in their house, so we can use this to teach them. And then we started taking all our courses and like summarizing them and using our methodology of getting to like the different learning styles. So we were like, how can we make this interactive and not only like send a lot of messages through WhatsApp? So we started creating videos, then we started creating audios, then we started creating templates, and then we started connecting to like the different learning styles, and we started validating the concept. So we started asking questions and like validating that they were actually like watching the videos and learning from the videos. And we were just impressed. We were like, what? This is amazing. And then we started, of course, doing a lot of research of microlearning, attention span, education trends, and then microlearning started being a thing. But like, it was always microlearning through a platform. It was never through WhatsApp. And I think it was super cool that these projects let us realize or have like this super good product that now we keep doing it to work with like the vulnerable communities, but we actually created that as a product to sell to our clients. So again, and I think this is where everything is connected. It's like we connect that entrepreneurial mindset of like, okay, how can I make this better? And I think it also goes along with like education should always go together with innovation. And it's not going that way. Education is going along with like traditional and looking like the same as 100 years ago, but it should always go with innovation because people change, context change. Our life is not the same that it was before COVID. Like the way we see life, the way we understand, the way we learn. In our business, we started in 2019. The main problem that we had was that, especially in Latin America, I think here in the US is a little bit more advanced, but the main problem that we had in our company was that people didn't believe that they could get good education online. They just didn't believe it. They were like, no, we want you to come. We want you to be here in person, blah, blah, blah. In 2020 hit COVID, and everyone decided everyone has to start learning online and start seeing the benefits of online learning, especially in like the company training, because it saves you a lot of money. I remember exactly, and I think this is also, again, these skills that you develop when you are an entrepreneur. When COVID hits and everything like gets closed, my sister said, we started in 2019, so we had like the platform developed, but not that much. So we were like, we're gonna give free courses to everyone. We had so many people coming in, like getting like free courses, that the platform just like went down, like for 30 seconds. But when you are in the other side, you feel that that was like 80 years. I was like, this is not working. Everyone is texting, blah, blah, blah. We were able to fix it. But it was a very, very important decision to make at that moment as business owners. Like, we have an opportunity. We have been working on this. People didn't realize that this was like actually a thing. Now the world shows them that it's a thing. We have this. We need to do something about it now, not in 10 years, not when we are ready, not when the platform is better, now. And that helps us to grow like the way we did a lot. We started with one course. Now we have around 300 courses. And we keep like creating courses every single day. Every month we launch like new courses. But again, it was that entrepreneurial mindset, the one that let us take those decisions in those moments that were critical to make a difference. Okay, so that's everything that I have for today. I just want to recap in the three things. It's entrepreneurship, neuroscience, and entrepreneurship seen as the entrepreneurial mindset. Also creating businesses, but it's just like the vehicle to develop all these like lateral skills. Neuroscience, definitely understand how it's the human behavior, to connect that to education. And finally, the way to do it, it's micro learning. Like everything is turning to short format, synthesized, clear, to the point. So nothing, I just wanted to say that. Thank you very much for inviting me. Now I think we're gonna open to questions. If we have like questions or comments, anything that you have in mind. I know we have like some questions from before, but thank you again. I just wanted to say that.
I had a quick question. When did BizNation start? Was it started when you were going to school in Georgia at Kennesaw State? Or did the idea start once you went back to Columbia? I know basically it started when you were 6 years old, or the idea at least, or the mindset. But yeah, when did you start BizNation? How did you start it?
Actual platform. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you the real story here. Because everyone knows like the short story, like, oh yeah, we started in 2009. So the real thing, and that's why I think these spaces are very, very important for students and for faculty as well. So Daniela was part of an honors program in Kennesaw. We went to school in Kennesaw State University, and she was part of an honors program. And at honors program, what had like super cool is that they will take a guest speaker every like 2 classes or like something like that. They will take like a guest speaker, like a business owner, bring it to the class, talk to the students, da 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 da. So then they had this like huge business owner. He came to the class, and then Daniela, out of nowhere, she was like, I have this great business idea to transform education. Like you said, at that point we didn't have BizNation, but we have always been working on like, how can we do this? Like, no, but we didn't have a product. And she was like, I have this great idea. I need to show it to you, and I need to get your feedback. And then he was like, well, great. I host every Thursday, every second Thursday of every month, I host an angel investors lunch. Come with the idea, bring your business plan, pitch your idea, and see what feedback do you get. Maybe you even get an investor, not only feedback. And that was the first week of the month. So the next week was like next month. And then Daniela gets home and she's like, hey, so I just told this guy that we have this great idea, and we don't have anything. So we need to have a great idea. We need to have a great business plan, and we need to have a pitch deck for next week. Like we have like literally 7 days. And we were like, what? So I think that pressure just like accelerated the process. Of course, what we pitch at that moment is not like what we are doing today. But I think it's very important like to start. At that moment, we pitched, it was a curriculum that we also have it today, but in that moment, it was like a 12-year entrepreneurship curriculum for schools. But then when we actually started, we saw that it was like very hard to do it. So we started like pivoting. And I think that's a very important skill also for entrepreneurs. That you cannot be obsessed with your product. You have to be obsessed with the problem and keep finding ways on how to like solve that problem. So we pitched that idea, but then we started like changing it. And then in 2019 was when we actually like launched like the actual platform.
Another question was something that you brought up when we talked last time about the experience when you were doing BizFest and you had government funding in Colombia, and with the change of the leadership, the funding was gone. And I feel like that story is really great in showing resiliency in business, because that's something that you have to know in business in order to be successful, I think, or thinking on your toes and being able to come up with solutions instead of just saying, we have a problem, we can't solve it, it's the end, like by still.
100%. I feel that honestly, one of the biggest lessons that I have learned in my life, literal, was that day with that specific scenario. So let me give you a little context. We have the BizFest. It's a festival in a stadium, Movistar Arena, the biggest arena, the most important arena in Colombia. We have 14,000 students coming for free. But like I said, when we said it's for free, people were like, oh yeah, super cool, but I'm not gonna be able to go because I don't have like money to go to the place. So we started this campaign that was called Apadrina un Bus to get people to the stadium. And in addition of that, when you work with like public schools, students cannot be more than 4 hours without eating. So we had to find snacks to give them, right? So that's a lot of like cost right there. Like you have to host the event, you have to bring the students, and you have to feed the students. So, and I'm gonna tell two main stories out of that. So like 2 months from the event in Colombia, we have the presidential elections. For the first time, we have a president from like another perspective of like ruling the country. So it was like crazy. So a lot of like our sponsors were government entities like El Bienestar Familiar or like the president for like Jews, whatever. Like they were like all, not all, but a lot of like government entities. And 2 months before the event, they were like, oh yeah, no, like, I mean, this new government is gonna take us out. So we like, they didn't say like this, but this was like basically what they meant. Like, we don't care about like doing this because we're not gonna continue in the government. And we were like, what? What do you mean? Like, we already had this road down. What are we gonna do? And I remember that even like a month before the event, we still had a board with 3 scenarios. We were like, we either postpone the event to try to find money. We either cancel the event, like we don't do it because like, honestly, it was like crazy, or we do the event and find a way. And we were like, no, we do the event and find a way. And then we find, like I said, these campaigns that it was called Apadrina un Bus. And it was just like, it was amazing because we were always like these entrepreneurs, like, yes, we can do everything and we're going to do the business and we can't by ourselves, blah, blah, blah. But then we were like, no, we can't. We need help. Like, we need other people to make this happen. And we created this campaign with the mindset of like, we're going to get like 5 buses sponsored, but in this moment, everything counts. Like $1, $2, everything counts. Like whatever, that's like a glass of water. So we did it. No expectativas. Like we were like, we're going to get 5 buses. At the end of the day, we were able to get 300 buses to get the students to the stadium. And it was so like, como, no sé cómo decirlo, como emocional, when we realized that BizFest was more than us. It was like the whole community getting together. People were like giving like $10, $50, like whatever. And with that, being able to bring all the students, but with the help of the community, like people were actually like, I really want to help. Like, I'm not going to do a BizFest, but I can help like giving these opportunities to students. And that day I realized that you cannot work as a business, like a solo business in a bubble. Like you have to work with the community. Like people, especially in this like new generation, it's very colaborativa. Like people are willing to collaborate. People are willing to do alianza. People are willing to work together to make a bigger impact than just going by yourself. And I really like that. And also in the business context, like I feel that before people were very like, I'm not going to tell you my idea. I'm not going to tell you like what I do because you're going to copy what I do or you're my competition. But today I feel that businesses are just working a lot more together, like hand by hand. And I think that's very important and it's very good. And I always say, like, if you're afraid of telling someone your business idea, is because you're not sure that you can do like the best version of it. If you know that you can do the best version of it, you should be like fine. And also, if it was easy to do it, everyone will do it. You know, there's so many people that have so many ideas and they never act on them. So I always share my ideas because I always get feedback and I always like hear what people are saying. But yeah, that was like definitely one of like the most stressful, but also like most like emotional moments that we had.
Okay, thank you, Stephanie. We have a very special attendee here, who is also from Colombia. Is a professor from EAFIT Business School from Medellin, Colombia. Is Professor Carolina Ardila. I want to welcome her. She was attending the whole webinar, and this way we have two cities represented, Cartagena and Medellin, and then we are happy to hear her opinion and also her questions. Welcome, Carolina.
Thank you, Luciana. It's very nice to meet you, Stephanie. I am truly happy and honored to see your case, to see how much you've done and with your sisters, and how well you're putting Colombia's name in the world. Thank you so much. Besides congratulating you for your enormous energy and amount of activities that you do. I already registered for one of the courses. Okay, so it will be wonderful for me to learn from you. Yes, I'm a professor at the University of EAFIT. I've been a professor for 10 years. I'm at the business school. And it's very interesting to see that you had the opportunity to share your experience last year in Medellin with Comeva. I saw the webinar. I saw like the YouTube video. It was very interesting, and all the people that you gathered together there. I do have a concern because I'm Colombian. I'm a professor. I see entrepreneurs, broke entrepreneurs, and I realize that this is a path full of thorns. And when you teach the students and these young minds to develop an entrepreneurial mindset, and they start their businesses, but after a couple of years, they get into that valley of death of entrepreneurship. And our institutions generally in Latin America are not good at supporting this highly amount of total early stage entrepreneurship activity, because Colombia has the highest amount of global entrepreneurial activity in the early stages, according to the Global Entrepreneurial Monitor. But we have one of the least amount of established business ownerships all around the world. So what are you thinking of doing here when you motivate all these people and tell them, okay, you can do it, but then they face this reality? Do they get back to you and say, okay, what do I do now? And I would like to know if you have, done something towards that.
Yes, 100%, and you're totally right. And that's exactly the reason why the BizNation exists. So when we started the public speaking stuff, we started giving speaking engagements, and something that we have that everyone like knows us today because of that, it's like our speaking engagements are always like crazy. Like we have lights and music and like they're like crazy stuff and interactive stuff, blah, blah, blah. So everyone gets like super motivated because we know that we have to use emotions to be able like to glue, like I was saying before, to glue that information, right? So we got to that point that we were like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to just motivate people. And after we motivate people, then they just like after a week, motivation is like a roller coaster, right? Like you're super motivated, I'm gonna be an entrepreneur, woohoo, yeah. And then it goes down, right? So we're like, no, we have to do something like more about it. And that's when we decided to start the BizNation. The first course of the BizNation was actually how to create a business, because we were like, oh, you want to be an entrepreneur? Perfect. Take this course that is going to take you step by step on how to create a business. We even developed a software of like business plans that was like, as you learn how to develop a business and create your business idea, then this is going to generate an automatic business plan. So you have it, so you know like the steps that you need to follow. We all know that the business plan never goes as the plan, but you need to start somewhere, because if you don't know where you're going, then any route is going to work, right? And then after that, we work a lot along with universities, with EAFID, with like, we have had a lot of projects with EAFID, and with like chambers of commerce. We work like with almost every chamber of commerce in Colombia. We work with the Georgia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce here, and we create programs for business owners. So for example, we have a program with the Georgia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce that is called La Jefa League. And La Jefa League is basically a 2-month program where we take business owners, not to help them start a business. Like they already have a business and they are like generating between 150 and 300K a year, but they're stuck there. Like, how can I make more money? And then we bring them on and we develop a 2-month program. The first month, it's about like mindset, because you still have to change your mindset to be able to like grow. And then we talk about like the 5 aspects that after working with a lot of businesses, we realize that are like the main problems that every small and medium business goes through. First, it's people, human, like capital, right? Second, the admin portion. Then logistics, then finance, and finally marketing and sales. So we tackled these 5 parts that we saw. We work with Bancolombia, that is like one of the biggest banks in Colombia. And they did this research, and that's the research that we use to then create this information. And after that, we give them mentorship, because we know that maybe one business will be struggling in finance, but the other business will be struggling in marketing. So it doesn't make sense to teach them something that already works or doesn't work. So then we do those programs. So that one is focused mostly in women. We have done it in different areas in Georgia. We also have others that are just about like digital marketing. Like we have a lot of programs of like business development of like already established businesses. And also we work in levels. So we work from, like I said, 150 to 300, then we work 300 to 500, then we work 500 to 1 million in revenue, because the problems are different in the stages that you are. So yeah, so that's what we do.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And again, like I said, if you want to know about like any of the programs that we do, we have everything in our social media. Now, every time that I go to an event, people are like, "You have a card?" And I'm like, "No, but I have Instagram." So we post everything there in Hermanas Carvajalino or in the BizNation. We're gonna open a new one that is called the Biz Lab. That is the one that is gonna be mainly focused on the projects, on these type of projects that I'm telling you. So the BizNation is more like the platform, but from that came all these projects and people get confused. So we're like, okay, let's divide it so people don't get confused.
I don't know if I can make a quick question, even though it's kind of like personal, but it actually, I'm amazed. How have you managed to stick together? Because you're the three of you all the time. How have you done that?
Oh, it's crazy. People are always like, "Oh my God, you're so cute. You don't fight." I'm like, "Excuse me, what do you mean you don't fight? We're sisters and we're only 1 year apart. Of course we fight. Not only for the business, but like for like, I always wear Karen's clothes and she always gets mad. So like we fight for everything, right? But I think that the main reason why we have been able to stick together is because we have always learned a lot about like communication and everything that I was telling before about like the different types of brains. We at a very early age understood that and worked towards that. Like we understood what Karen was good at, Daniela was good at, what I was good at. We have like very set expectations on like, you're gonna be the leader of this project, you're gonna be the leader of this project, you're gonna be the leader of this project. And even though I have an opinion on it, at the end of the day, you take the final decision because it's under your leadership, that project, right? So we have a great communication. I think that the main problem for family businesses is that when you are in a business with a business partner, there's a line of respect, right? And when you're with your family, that line doesn't exist. Like if you get mad at some point, you're gonna be like, blah, blah, blah. But you have to be very like mature to understand this is the personal life and this is the business life. And we have been doing it forever. Also, I think we got used to it, like since we were like 6. So yeah, but it's not easy. Everyone thinks it's easy and cute, and I'm like, if you knew. But it's great. I love it.
So I wanted to ask also which communities, which underserved communities you are working with in South Florida, because we know we already know the Colombian communities because you explained so, but I'm very interested and very happy that you're having alternatives going on in like the school in Weston. But which other alternatives or ideas are you applying in Florida?
Yes, so I just moved to Florida like 3 months ago. When I was like a month after I got here, I was like, oh my God, I realized that these problems that we were seeing in Latin America was going on here with the Hispanic community, that even though the US is like, oh my God, this is the US and it's super advanced, and everything that all the countries see from like the outside, when you get here, you see another reality. Like when you leave here, you leave another reality, especially within the Hispanic community. That it's like a huge growing market, like you name it, like everything good that is going on, it's in the Hispanic community, but also it has a lot of opportunities to work on. So we're mainly working a lot with the Hispanic community. We're mainly working a lot with women in the Hispanic community. We have a super cool community that is called Puro Power, that is for women, not only like entrepreneurs, but just like little women. And we have like a chapter here in Miami. We have one in Weston, we have one in San Antonio, one in Atlanta, we're gonna open Orlando, Tampa. And the idea is to have like these small groups of women that, like like to call it, like you can connect with them, like have a good conversation. If anything happens after, like if you create a business, if you help each other, whatever, that's good. But the main point is to connect with other people that you can share like same problems, same situations, that you can like learn as well from each other. So we're mainly working and like super passionate about helping Hispanic business owners grow. And we just opened a preschool in Weston. So you're in Weston, let me know. We want to connect with you, be part of the community. And the idea is to open more schools, not only in Florida, but like in the US.
In the preschool, are you teaching the children about entrepreneurship early on?
And everyone asks me about this, like, and sometimes people do it like with a sarcastic tone, like, oh yeah, how are you going to teach a 4-year-old about entrepreneurship? And I was like, when I was 6, I was knocking doors every single day, not every single day, but every other day, selling my chocolates so you can. But of course, when you have a 4-year-old, you're not going to be like, oh, this is ingreso, egreso. But you start like, again, it's about the skills. Like you start like making them. And also, wait, in our preschool in Colombia, we do something that is like market day, and we have like preschool, elementary, and high school. And the market day that sells the most, guess which one it is? Of course, the preschool, because when these 5-year-olds come to you and be like, can you buy me a chocolate? Of course, you're going to buy all of them. So they always sell out. But yes, since they're like very young, we just start like getting them to, in a very playful way, learn about this. So we take cookies and we are like, okay, how much these cookies cost? And they just start like getting familiar with their vocabulary, and also like, again, like I said, the skills that we develop. So whenever they are like older, they can start applying them.
This has been great. Luciana, are there any other questions? I know we're at 12 o'clock, so we want to be mindful of everybody's time.
Yes, you can make questions in the chat box.
If not, I mean, if there are any questions that you think of afterward, you can reach out to us and we can connect you with Stephanie, or you can reach her on Instagram. Yes. Or I don't know if you wanted to put your email or how you'd like people to connect with you.
To me, LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. people use LinkedIn. Like LinkedIn is over. Use LinkedIn. That's the place to be. Also Instagram. So in my LinkedIn is Stephanie Carvajalino. My Instagram is Steph Carvajalino. And there you can see like everything that we do. We're usually like posting stuff. Any question that you have, just let us know. I'm here in Miami now. So anything that you need, anything that I can help, just let me know. I'm super, super willing to help. I always like to talk about like this type of topics and helping whatever I can.
Yes, and you will have also the Puro Power women leaders in Miami. So can you tell us more about the event that's going to happen soon?
Yes. So we have out of this community, so we did like Power Day. We did it like a month ago or 2 months ago. It was amazing. We had 150 people. We had like different panelists, again, we were talking about mindset, marketing and personal brand and finance. It was amazing. We are planning to do a next one maybe in August or October. But if you want to be part of the Puro Power community, like the WhatsApp group where we currently like send like Money Monday tips, we send like, I don't know, this grant is open, apply for that grant, or like ideas or stuff or events or stuff like that. Let me know through Instagram and I'll send you the WhatsApp link, or we can send it in an email or something, and then you can be part of it as well.
We can share the information as well on our social media once you send it to us. Thank you so much for sharing your story, and we look forward to working with you a lot in the future. There's lots of opportunities for collaboration. Oh, no, there's someone else. Oh, there's somebody. Okay, there's a couple of people who have asked questions. Very nice. Okay, so we have someone, it doesn't say their name, but it says, thank you very much for the presentation. I would like to connect with you and talk a little bit more about my business plan. And then she put her website, so you can see on the question and answer, GabrielaEsquivel.com.
Yes, that
And
she's
she even included her phone number.
She's from Costa Rica, and she's a student at FIU, and she works also in the FIU Music School. We will have her in August 15th seminar we will have for K-12 teachers.
Nice. Well, Gabriela, send me a message, DM, and we can talk about anything that you want.
Yes,
then
and we
have
have
a message,
also.
yeah, from Victor Leon. He says, is it too hard? Wait, let's see. Is it hard, and how long does it take to empower your public speech? So he wants to work on public speech or learn about how you became such a great public speaker.
I think there's people that have like natural skills that they're like good at speaking, but I think this is definitely a skill that can be taught. There's so many tips that you can find like either in YouTube, or you can find like everywhere. Like, I don't think there's like a specific time, like, oh yeah, it will take you 2 months. I think it depends on how hard you work on it and how much do you practice. But for me, it's like, I just like practice and in front of the mirror to see myself. Sometimes I record myself. I try to, there's like I said, many tips, like for pronunciation, you put like a pen in your mouth and you talk with that, and then you have like a better pronunciation. There's like so many things, so many cool things. I even think I have some videos in my Instagram of like tips of public speaking, or maybe in my in YouTube, and it's YouTube de Hermanas Carvajalino. But again, it's not like a time thing. I don't think it's hard. I just think it's like practice. Like you have to practice. Entre más practiquen, mejores resultados van a tener.
And also, the more you practice, the less nervous you are if you're a nervous public speaker, right? So the more you refine your skill, I think the more relaxed you feel too.
Yeah, a lot of people always say that I'm a great improviser, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I've been practicing for 20 years. So it's just like, and I practice for every event. Like for like 2 days ago, I had Latin Talk, that is like TED Talk, but like Latin. And I practice like a lot. So it's never going to be like, oh yeah, I just know how to do this and I'm not going to practice.
Might have been all the questions that we had. Thank you all for coming, and thank you very much to Stephanie, and also to Carolina and to Luciana. It's been great to spend the hour with you. And like I said, we look forward to working with you on many other collaborative opportunities.
Yes, man, it went by so fast. I can't believe it's been already an hour.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
same. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank
You
you.
too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.